My name is Lana Carter. I'm a 27-year-old event planner in downtown Atlanta. Weddings, galas, charity fundraisers, you name it. I've orchestrated hundreds of perfect moments, flipped venue lights on cue, and coordinated bridal entrances to breathy music. Weddings have always been my domain. Until tonight. I should have known the paradox of perfect weddings. They hide the ugliest truths. Tonight was supposed to be my crowning achievement. My own wedding. Everything felt cinematic. The plush bridal suite at 5 p.m., the soft sunlight spilling through white drapes, every detail unfolding exactly as I planned. My white gown was a cascade of silk and chantilly lace, embroidered with pearls my grandmother gave me. My hair was sleek. My makeup was flawless, foundation, contour, eyelash fluff, to make me shine like the bride I was meant to be. About to be. Except I'm not sure I recognize myself in the mirror anymore. Because 3 hours before I walk down that aisle, everything cracks. It all started when my maid of honor, Sarah, rushed into the suite. Her face was pale, eyes wide. "Lana, please." She didn't finish the sentence. She was trembling. My bridesmaids paused mid-appreciation of my veil to stare along with me, repeating under breath. "What is it? What happened?" Sarah was holding another phone, Sophia's. My best friend since college. My confidant. The maid of honor. The one person I'd trusted more than anyone. I thought she had my back. Apparently, she has my coffin. The phone screen glowed with notifications. Danny's smiling face with heart eyes, 2:13 a.m. And I knew. I couldn't tell what empathy is supposed to feel like in shock. My heart pounded. My blood froze. The words on the screen blurred. But clarity cut right through the haze. Danny's smiling face with heart eyes last night was unforgettable. "I can't stop thinking about you." It was texts, pictures, explicit videos, all between my fiancé, Daniel, and Sophia. Whispered secrets recorded in pitch and pixel betrayal. Bare skin. Bare words. My home. My life. I looked up. 5 bridesmaids, all stunned. Sarah's mascara ran. One of them grabbed her arm. The bridal suite went silent. The door cracked. It was Erin, my college roommate, maid of honor in training. She stepped inside, eyebrows tight. I didn't care if every guest downstairs heard me. I said it loud. "Show me." Erin opened the gallery. A video preview that was like acid in my veins. Daniel and Sophia, entwined, unmistakable intimacy. I recognized Sophia's bridesmaid robe, gifted by me, soaked in betrayal. Time slowed. Every second dripped poison. I watched Daniel whisper to her, "You're incredible." "He doesn't deserve you." She laughed. "He'll never know," she whispered back. "He will. He will know everything," I thought. Then Erin said softly, "You might want to see this before you marry him." The world closed. I almost collapsed. My braille-trained mind traced the floor. My mind reeled. My gown felt tighter. The lace claws dug into my skin. A match set in a room of gasoline. If you are shocked by what you just heard, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. Your thoughts matter. And if you want to stay in the loop for what's coming next, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss a moment of this. I could either run, expose them, dissolve the wedding, or do something else. I chose a third path. I brushed past Erin, picked up Sophia's phone, slid it into my bouquet, and smiled. "Thank you," I said quietly. "I'll handle it." She hesitated, tears brimming. I nodded and led her out. A good friend should crumble. A great manipulator holds the throne. Back on stage. Moments later, I reappeared in front of full-length mirrors. My reflection. Serene bride. No hint of dread. No panic in the eyes. Nothing but perfection. I checked my phone. A text from Sophia. "Are you okay?" I wouldn't reply. I didn't want to be seen. I wanted her to sink in silence. My wedding planner approached. Ready for first look? I nodded. My heart still felt like a deflated balloon missed at a party. First look. I walked out to the courtyard, where Daniel waited, smiling, nervous, oblivious. His tears glistened. He reached for me. When I stepped into his arms, his voice trembled. "You're stunning." I smiled. "Thank you." He kissed my forehead. I felt something shatter inside me. But the gods of revenge granted me cold composure. "Once we have eyes, I'll help with the bridal exit," I whispered. He smiled at the phrase, "once we have eyes," meaning the photo op. I saw that rupture in his mind. He took it literally. "We'll go viral for wedding magazines." I concealed the rest. Gathered with family. During portraits, I watched Sophia from the corner of my eye. Bridesmaid position, holding flowers, smiling at other guests, her gaze never drifting toward me. Too busy corroding my life. Daniel chatted with my brother. I saw the ring. Gold band. Too familiar. Too intimate. I recognized the exact cut. Same one I gave Sophia at New Year's brunch last December, just as friends. I nearly laughed. But I didn't. Smile, Lorna. I did. The ceremony began. All attention turned inward. Lighting, Swarovski aisle runners. The pastor, his vows. He said, "I, Daniel, take you, Lorna." I could taste the lie. To be my wife. I swallowed it. Then the classic. "You may now kiss the bride." He pressed his lips to mine. I kissed him back. Not with love, but with a purpose far colder, far more lethal. They all applauded. Flashbulbs popped. Cameras clicked. I was Mrs. Carter now. But the festal music was just the curtain rising on my plan. My next move was already in motion, to dismantle him, bit by brutal bit. You'd think that after watching your fiancé screw your best friend on video, your knees would buckle. That walking down the aisle would feel like dragging your own coffin. But my legs. They moved like they always did. Poised, practiced, perfect. Years of ballet lessons made sure of that. I stood behind the chapel doors, bouquet trembling just slightly in my hands. My father, blissfully ignorant, smiled down at me. "You ready, pumpkin?" Not even close. But I smiled. "Yeah. Let's go make me a bride." The doors swung open. The music soared. I stepped into the light. Gasps echoed through the pews. Camera flashes. Little sighs from the sentimental types. They saw a glowing bride in white. What they didn't see was the war raging behind my eyes. I didn't see guests. I saw pawns. I didn't see an altar. I saw a battlefield. And standing at the end of that battlefield, Daniel, my fiancé, my betrayer, my soon-to-be husband who had no idea I'd seen every filthy message, every moaning video, every promise he whispered to Sophia when he thought I wasn't looking. His smile when he saw me made my skin crawl. "Lorna," he mouthed like I was his dream. He had no idea I was his executioner. Sophia stood to the side as my maid of honor. She wore lilac, her eyes rimmed with tears. Not guilt. Panic. When our eyes met, hers flinched like she'd been slapped. Good. I reached the altar. My father kissed my cheek, and I slipped my hand into Daniel's. His palm was warm. Steady. Mine was ice. "You look like something out of a dream," he whispered. I leaned in, brushed my lips near his ear. "Let's hope you remember it." He grinned. Naive. Arrogant. The officiant started. I don't remember the words. Something about love, trust, unity. I stared at Daniel's lips as they moved. He looked so sincere, so heartbreakingly devoted. It made me sick. Then came the vows. Daniel went first. He spoke about fate. About how the universe brought us together. How I made him a better man. I wondered if he said those words to Sophia too. Maybe during the quickie in her car the night he skipped dinner with my parents. Then it was my turn. I took a breath and smiled. I promise to love you through all seasons, I said. Even the darkest winters. I promise to honor our union, even when others try to tear it apart. Sophia shifted on her heels. I continued, voice sweet as syrup. I promise to forgive, but not to forget. That one was just for her. Vows done, the rings came next. Daniel slipped mine on, and I glanced down. A diamond halo. Beautiful. Classic. But his ring. 3 emerald inlays. My blood went cold. Sophia wore the same design. I'd seen it on her nightstand once. She'd said it was a gift from a friend. He didn't even bother to change the style. You may now kiss the bride. Daniel leaned in. His lips touched mine, and I tasted the lie. I tasted every secret he thought he buried deep enough to rot in peace. The crowd cheered. Flashbulbs exploded. And then, beyond the blur of lights, I saw him. Alex. Daniel's brother. He stood against the far wall, arms crossed. His expression wasn't joy. It wasn't surprise. It was quiet. Knowing. He didn't smile. He didn't look away. He just watched. When our eyes met, something in me locked into place. This wasn't just a betrayal. This was a chessboard. And tonight, I was going to move my queen. As we walked down the aisle hand in hand, Daniel whispered, "We did it." I leaned in. We did something. Because he thought the wedding was the climax. He had no idea. The real show was just beginning. The reception hall was a dream dipped in glitter and lies. Crystal chandeliers bathed the room in golden light. A 10-piece string ensemble played an instrumental version of At Last, which felt ironic considering what I'd just endured. Ivory roses bloomed across every table. The champagne flowed like rivers of liquid gold, and guests were already dancing, laughing, completely unaware that the bride they toasted to had already drafted her husband's obituary, socially speaking, at least. Daniel was glowing, soaking up attention like a damn solar panel. He moved through the crowd like a politician, shaking hands, giving hugs, winking at old aunts, and charming bridesmaids. His mother kept calling me the perfect addition to the family. She had no idea her favorite son was a habitual liar who'd been sleeping with my best friend while I tried on dresses. And Sophia. She was still here. Still in lilac. Still pretending her hands weren't covered in the blood of our friendship. I caught her eyes across the room. She raised her glass to me with a tight smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The cowardice in that smile fueled me. But I didn't react. Because I had a plan. The DJ's voice echoed through the mic, "Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention for the bride and groom's first dance?" Applause rippled. Daniel reached for my hand. "You ready?" I nodded. "Let's give them a show." He pulled me into the center of the dance floor as the room hushed. Our chosen song began, "You Are the Reason." Sentimental. Beautiful. Fake. He placed one hand on the small of my back. The other clasped mine. We began to sway, slow and graceful, the way we'd practiced during lessons. "You're glowing," he whispered into my hair. I pulled back slightly to meet his eyes. "So are you." He beamed like the guilt wasn't eating him alive. If he only knew. My eyes didn't stay on him. They drifted beyond his shoulder. To the corner of the ballroom. To him. Alex. Daniel's older brother. Alex was leaning against a column, nursing a glass of whiskey. He looked every bit the black sheep, charcoal suit instead of traditional tux, sleeves rolled up, shirt unbuttoned at the collar. No tie. No mask. His eyes locked with mine. And in that moment, the noise of the room faded. He didn't look surprised. He didn't look impressed. He looked like he already knew what I was about to do. The music played on. Daniel spun me under his arm and pulled me back into him, grinning. "We nailed it." I forced a smile. Almost. As the last notes faded, I leaned in and whispered, Hold my glass, will you? He took the flute from me without hesitation. And then, accident. I tripped, just slightly, and the red wine in my hand spilled across his crisp white shirt. Gasps from the crowd. Oh my God. I cried. I'm so sorry. Daniel looked down at the spreading stain on his chest. The red soaked into the cotton like blood. For a second, I saw a flicker of irritation. Just a second. It's fine, he said with a tight smile. No big deal. I think there's an extra shirt in the bridal suite, I offered. Why don't you go change before the pictures? He nodded and kissed my forehead. Be right back, babe. And then he was gone. And I was free. I made my way through the crowd, weaving toward the back hallway where the bathrooms and service exits were located. He was already there. Alex. He stepped out from the shadows like he'd been waiting for me. Nice trick, he said. You saw. Whole room did. But only I know it wasn't an accident. I stepped closer. And how would you know that? He sipped his drink. Because I've seen the way you look at people. And that wasn't clumsiness, Lana. That was intent. A pause stretched between us. I could feel my heart thudding against my ribs like it wanted to break out. You knew about Daniel and Sophia, I said. He didn't deny it. I suspected. A while now. And you didn't tell me? Would you have believed me? He asked, tilting his head. I opened my mouth. Closed it again. Because the truth was, I probably wouldn't have. I just needed to see it for myself, I murmured. He leaned in slightly, his voice lower now. And now that you have? Now, I said slowly, I want to burn everything down. Alex smiled, but it wasn't a happy one. It was dark. Crooked. Like he understood the appeal of revenge too well. I can help you with that. I narrowed my eyes. Why? He shrugged. Let's just say I'm tired of watching my brother get everything he doesn't deserve. My breath caught. You hate him, I whispered. Alex didn't respond. But he didn't have to. The truth was written all over his face. And that was when I knew. He wasn't just another pawn. He was a weapon. One I planned to use. I faked a migraine. That's what I told Daniel, 40 minutes after our first dance. My voice trembled just enough to sell it. A well-placed hand to my temple. A furrow of the brows. I knew how to act. He believed me because he always saw what he wanted to see. Do you want me to take you home? He asked, concern laced with guilt. I saw it. That flicker of panic. The possibility I'd found something. He hadn't seen the texts yet, but he had reason to worry. A cheater always knows when he's on borrowed time. No, I whispered, brushing his cheek with my fingertips. You should stay. Your family's here. It's our night. He nodded, hesitant. Call me if you need anything. I'll be okay. Lie number 16 of the day. When I stepped outside, the summer air hit my face like freedom. I kicked off my heels in the car. My feet were blistered. My spine ached from posture. My heart numb. Alex leaned against his black Audi, arms folded, watching me like he already knew what I was going to say. Take me somewhere, I said, slipping into the passenger seat. Anywhere but here. He opened the door, slid in beside me, and pulled off without a word. We drove in silence for 10 minutes before I realized we weren't going to a hotel or some dark alley for a quick, dirty revenge fantasy. We were headed to his place. A loft on the edge of the city. Tall windows. Sparse furniture. The kind of space that looked like it was designed to keep people out, not welcome them in. When I stepped inside, I dropped my clutch on the floor and leaned against the wall, finally letting the facade crack. You sure about this? He asked. I turned to him slowly. You still asking questions, or are we past that now? He stared for a moment. Not at my dress or my lips, but at my eyes. Like he was trying to figure out how much of this was real. I'm asking, he said, Because once we do this, there's no going back. I walked toward him, one step at a time, the hem of my dress dragging behind me like a white flag I had no intention of waving. I passed the point of no return the minute he put that ring on my finger, I whispered. We didn't kiss like strangers. We didn't touch like people exploring something new. We kissed like a goddamn car crash. Violent. Messy. Inevitable. He pressed me against the kitchen counter, his hands trailing down my spine like he'd memorized it in another life. My dress unzipped with a sound like tearing paper. His shirt hit the floor. My hands fumbled with his belt. And in that moment, I forgot the ceremony. The lies. The pain. I remembered what it felt like to be wanted. Not for a performance. Not for appearances. But for me. We stumbled to his bed. My veil was still in my hair. My lipstick smeared down his throat. It wasn't about Daniel anymore. It was about taking back a piece of myself. Or burning what was left. When it was over, we lay tangled in silence, both of us too aware of what we'd just done. I stared at the ceiling, trying to find guilt. Or shame. Or even fear. But all I found was clarity. He turned to face me. You okay? I'm fine. Lie number 17. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. I glanced at it. Daniel. I picked it up. Swiped without thinking. Alex. Daniel's voice was low, tired. You home? I've called Lorna, she's not answering. I think she's sick. I'm worried. Silence. I didn't say a word. Hello. Alex. I ended the call. Alex sat up beside me. Was that who I think it was? I nodded, still staring at the now black screen. What did you say? Nothing. A beat passed. And then he did something unexpected. He smiled. Not a mocking smirk. Not a smug grin. But the kind of smile you give someone when the unspoken becomes undeniable. Good. I rolled over to face him. You still haven't told me why you're helping me. He looked at the ceiling. Because I've watched him ruin everything he touches since we were kids. And I'm tired of watching. And if I told you I was using you? He met my gaze without flinching. I already assumed that. Doesn't change a thing. I stared at him. This man I barely knew, and yet somehow, understood completely. I don't want to feel anything for you, I whispered. He reached for my hand. Then don't. We didn't sleep. Not really. Just drifted in and out of something that felt like stillness. Or shock. By morning, my dress was folded over a chair. His clothes were still on the floor. The sun lit up the room like a stage. And suddenly, I felt exposed. Vulnerable. Not because of what we'd done, but because of what it meant. Daniel would find out. Sophia would twist it. The world would label me the villain. And maybe I was. But here's the thing about villains. Sometimes, they start as brides. It's a cruel joke, really. How silence always feels the loudest after something you can't take back. By the time I woke up, the sun had climbed too high for denial. My wedding dress lay crumpled on Alex's chair like a deflated symbol of who I was supposed to be. The vows I spoke hours ago echoed in my ears with sick irony. I, Lorna Carter, take thee, Daniel. To honor. To cherish. Until I found out you were screwing my best friend and I slept with your brother in retaliation. I sat up in Alex's bed, the sheets twisted around my legs, my mouth dry from cheap champagne and bitter satisfaction. He wasn't beside me. I found him in the kitchen, shirtless, making coffee like nothing had happened. Like we were just two normal people waking up from a normal night. But nothing about us was normal anymore. He looked at me over the rim of his mug, his eyes unreadable. You always this quiet in the morning? I pulled the sheet tighter around me. Only when I've just imploded my entire life. Alex chuckled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Trust me, he deserved it. I said nothing. Because even though I wanted to believe that, A part of me still felt the weight of everything I'd done. Not regret, just gravity. I should go, I said. Back to him? He asked, not masking the venom in his voice. I looked at the clock. 9:17 a.m. Back to clean up the mess. He nodded slowly. You'll tell him. I laughed, bitter and hollow. Tell him I slept with his brother on our wedding night? Sure. Right after brunch and before I cut the cake. He leaned against the counter. So this was just a moment, huh? I didn't answer. Because it wasn't. We both knew that. But admitting it would complicate everything. I'm not the enemy, Lorna, he said. No. Just the accomplice. I found my dress, slipped it on without care. It felt heavier than before. Like guilt had woven itself into the fabric overnight. Alex walked me to the elevator. We didn't kiss. We didn't say goodbye. Because this wasn't a love story. Not yet. I got home around noon. Daniel's jacket was on the couch. His tie draped over the armrest. He was pacing in the kitchen, running his hands through his hair like a man trying to outrun guilt. When he saw me, he froze. Jesus, Lorna, where were you? I've been calling all night. I told you. I had a migraine. He walked toward me, concern flooding his face. You should have let me take you home. I would have stayed with you. No, I said too quickly. You had a party to enjoy. He opened his mouth like he wanted to argue, but thought better of it. Did you sleep? I nodded. Lie number 18. I missed you. I bit my lip. You smell like Sophia. He blinked. What? You came home last night, didn't you? After I left the reception. He hesitated. That half-second was all I needed. You were with her. No, Lorna, it wasn't. I held up a hand. Don't. Just don't. The silence between us stretched like a wire pulled tight. And then my phone buzzed. A text from Alex. You okay? Daniel didn't see the message, but he saw the name. His face darkened. Why is my brother texting you? I looked him dead in the eye. Because I needed someone last night. And you weren't it. He stared at me, processing the pieces, putting them together too late. What did you do? I didn't answer. Not because I couldn't, but because watching him unravel was more satisfying in silence. He backed away, running his hands through his hair. You're lying. Am I? His voice cracked. Lorna, please tell me you didn't. I turned away, headed upstairs. I could feel his eyes burning into my back. Lorna, I didn't stop. Because the truth? I wanted him to suffer, just like I had. Later that night, I got a call from Sophia. I almost didn't answer. Lorna, she breathed. What the hell did you do? I smiled against the phone. What do you mean? You slept with Alex. You're one to talk, Sophia. You're destroying him. I laughed. Good. He should feel what it's like. She was silent. Then, you think this makes you better than us? No, I said. Just smarter. I ended the call. Daniel hadn't spoken to me since I walked away that morning. He spent the day in our guest room, probably texting Sophia. Or maybe Alex. Let them talk. Let them compare notes. Because they were about to learn something the hard way. You don't play with fire and cry when you get burned. Around midnight, I walked into Daniel's room. He was sitting on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. Did you love her? I asked. He looked up. His eyes were bloodshot. It didn't mean anything. Then why did you keep doing it? He shook his head. I was stupid. Selfish. I thought I could have both. You did, I said. Until you lost everything. I didn't lose you, he whispered. I stepped closer. Yes, Daniel. You did. And I dropped a manila envelope on the bed. His face twisted. What's this? Proof. Of everything. Inside were the printed screenshots of his texts with Sophia, the receipts, the hotel photos, and a flash drive. He stared at it. What's on this? I leaned down. Let's just say, a wedding night video he'll never forget. His face turned pale. You filmed it. No, I said, smiling coldly. Alex did. For insurance. I walked out before he could speak. Let him sit in that silence. Let him rot in it. This game was far from over. But for now, I had won. The house was still. The kind of silence that feels like something is hiding just behind it, holding its breath. Daniel hadn't come out of the guest room since I dropped the envelope on his bed. I imagined him sitting there, watching the video on that flash drive, me and Alex in his brother's apartment. On the same night he slipped a ring on my finger. I didn't feel guilty. Not even for a second. I felt powerful. But power always attracts chaos. I just didn't know it would come knocking this soon. I was sipping coffee in the kitchen the next morning when the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there she was. Sophia. In full glam, tight jeans, and zero shame. Morning, Lorna, she said sweetly, like we were still friends. Like she hadn't spent the last year screwing my fiancé behind my back. I leaned against the doorframe. You've got some nerve. She brushed past me and walked in like she owned the place. Where is he? I shut the door slowly. Where's who? Daniel. I smirked. Recovering. She turned to face me, arms folded. So it's true. You slept with Alex. I took a sip from my mug. Wow. Did the walls tell you? Or did Daniel sob it into your hair while you were on your knees? Sophia's face flinched. Good. She deserved that. You think you've won, she said finally. You think this makes you better than me? I don't have to think it. I know it. She laughed once. You're insane. Probably, I said, setting the mug down. But at least I'm not pathetic. We stared at each other, the silence thick with history. Every brunch. Every girls' night. Every fake laugh and forced smile. All of it boiled down to this moment. I loved him, she said suddenly. Before you. Before the ring. You stole him. I blinked. Stole him. You were my best friend. You never saw him, Lorna. Not really. You were too busy being perfect. The career, the house, the wedding plans. He needed someone who didn't make him feel small. And that someone was you? The backup plan. The escape hatch. I stepped closer. Tell me, was it worth it? Throwing away our friendship for stolen orgasms and broken promises. Her lip trembled, just slightly. I gave him something you couldn't, she said, too proud to back down. And I gave him the last name, I shot back. So congrats. You were the rehearsal. I'm the show. She opened her mouth to respond, but another voice cut through the room. You should leave. Alex. I turned. He stood in the hallway, hair tousled, wearing one of my silk robes like he didn't care who saw. His eyes were locked on Sophia like she was something rotting on his floor. I don't remember inviting you in, he added. Sophia flushed. Of course. The hero shows up. I'm not her hero, Alex said coldly. But I sure as hell won't let you act like the victim. She looked between us. You two deserve each other. And with that, she stormed out. The door slammed. The silence returned. Alex walked into the kitchen, grabbed my coffee, and took a sip like he belonged here. Comfortable? I asked. He raised an eyebrow. Wouldn't you say I've earned it? I didn't answer. Because the truth was, I didn't know what we were now. An affair? A war alliance? Or something worse? You didn't have to defend me, I said. I wasn't defending you, he replied. I just can't stand her voice. I smirked. He poured himself a glass of water, leaned against the counter. "I never asked," he said after a beat. "What was the moment?" "What?" "The moment you decided to go through with it. With me. With all of this." I thought for a moment. When I realized he used to call her the same pet names he called me. When I saw the same cheap necklace he gave her show up in my drawer months later. He nodded, expression unreadable. "You know what's funny," he said. "He used to say I'd always be second best. That I'd never have what he had." I turned to face him. "Do you still believe that?" His jaw tightened. "Not anymore." Another silence. This one heavier. "I need to ask you something," I said. "Go ahead." I swallowed. "Last night, was it just revenge for you too?" He looked away, down into his glass. "No," he said. "It was never just revenge for me." That answer landed somewhere dangerous inside me. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. "Hope you're enjoying the fallout. Let's see how far you're willing to take this." Attached was a photo of me and Alex in his apartment last night, taken through the window. Someone had been watching, and now the real game had begun. I should have known silence never lasts in stories like mine. Peace is only ever the quiet before the storm, the breath you don't realize you've been holding until it's ripped from your lungs. It started with a knock. Not soft. Not hesitant. The kind that speaks before a single word is uttered. Angry. Sharp. Fists pounding out accusations before the door even opens. I didn't flinch. I opened it slowly, deliberately, and there he stood, Daniel. My husband. My liar. The man I once pictured growing old with. Now he looked like a man unraveling. Hair disheveled. Tie loose. Eyes rimmed in red. Where the fuck is he? He shoved past me before I could say a word, the scent of whiskey and rage clinging to him like a second skin. The hotel suite was still warm from last night. From what we did. What we started. "Daniel. Don't," he snapped, spinning toward me with fire in his eyes. "Don't say my name like we're okay." His hands clenched and unclenched. He looked around wildly, expecting Alex to jump out from behind a curtain or maybe still be in my bed. I almost wished he had been. It would have made this easier. "I trusted you," he barked. "I gave you everything." "You gave my best friend your dick," I said flatly. He flinched like I slapped him. "You don't get to play the victim." His chest rose and fell with violent rhythm. "You don't get to act righteous after what you did." I crossed my arms. "I gave you a taste of your own medicine." Sleeping with my brother on our wedding night? Was it better or worse than screwing my best friend for 6 months while telling me you loved me? He froze. The air thickened. I could hear the hum of the mini-fridge, the faint sound of traffic outside, the static in Daniel's head as he realized he was losing control. Not just of the conversation. Of everything. "You don't even love him," he muttered. I tilted my head. "And you loved Sophia?" He didn't answer. Footsteps came from the bedroom behind me. I didn't turn. I didn't have to. Alex emerged, pulling a shirt over his head, his knuckles bruised from the earlier confrontation. He didn't look surprised to see Daniel. In fact, he looked prepared. "You son of a bitch," Daniel growled. "You want to throw hands?" Alex asked, stepping forward. "Go ahead. But I guarantee you won't walk away." Daniel lunged, fist raised, but Alex was faster. He ducked, twisted, and slammed Daniel against the wall with a force that rattled the art off the nails. "Try it again," Alex said, breath hot and low. "And I'll end you." I didn't stop them. I didn't flinch. Because this was exactly the moment everything had been building toward. "You're both insane," Daniel spat, pushing off the wall. "You think this makes you the good guys? You think fucking behind my back makes you better than me?" "No," I said, stepping forward. It makes us honest. Something you've never been. He laughed. Bitter and broken. You know what hurts the most? Not that you cheated. Not even that it was with him. It's that I never saw it coming. That you could smile through vows and then crawl into his bed like it meant nothing. It didn't mean nothing, I said softly. It meant the end of pretending. Daniel's face collapsed. Like every emotion caught up to him at once. Shock, betrayal, jealousy, heartbreak. Then he turned to Alex. You were supposed to be my brother. I was, Alex said. Until you betrayed the one person I've ever. He stopped. My breath caught. You were going to say loved, weren't you? Daniel sneered. Alex didn't respond. But his silence was louder than any confession. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Oh my God. This wasn't random. You've always wanted her. Still, Alex didn't say a word. You've been waiting for me to mess up. No, Alex finally replied. I knew you'd mess up. I just didn't think it would hurt this much to watch. Daniel looked like he was going to be sick. He stumbled back, face pale, eyes wide. You two deserve each other, he muttered. No, I said coldly. We deserve better than you. The door slammed as he left, hard enough to shake the walls. Silence settled. Alex sat on the edge of the couch, head in his hands. That could have gone worse, I said, trying to break the tension. He looked up, eyes haunted. Did I just destroy my family? I walked over and sat beside him. He did that on his own. He studied me. Can I ask you something? I nodded. Was I just payback? The question sliced through me. I expected it, but it still hurt. And for a moment, I wanted to lie. But lies are what got us here. At first, I whispered. Yes. He didn't look surprised. Just sad. And now, I took his hand. Now, I'm not sure what we are. But I know this. Being with you didn't feel like revenge. It felt like something else. Something real, he asked. I nodded. He smiled, tired and small. Then maybe there's hope. But I wasn't ready to talk about hope. Not yet. Because I still hadn't told him about what I found in Sophia's purse. Or the photo slipped under our hotel door this morning. One of Alex and I, from last night. Taken from across the street. Someone was watching. And this revenge story? It wasn't finished. It had just drawn new blood. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and comment your thoughts below. Would you choose love or loyalty? And don't forget to subscribe for more true secrets every day.